Story with a moral. Kissa's only child, a very young son, had died. Unwilling to accept his death, she carried him from neighbor to neighbor and begged for someone to give her medicine to bring him back to life. One of her neighbors told her to go to Buddha, located nearby, and ask him if he had a way to bring her son back to life. Bringing the body of her son with her, Kissa found Buddha and pleaded with him to help her son back to life. He instructed her to go to village and gather mustard seeds from households of those who had never been touched by death. From those mustard seeds, he promised he would create a medicine to bring her son back to life. Relieved, she went back to the village and began asking her neighbors for mustard seeds. All of her neighbors were willing to give her mustard seeds, but they told her that their households had been touched by death. They told her the living are few, but the dead are many. As the day became evening and then night, she was still without any of the mustard seeds that she had been instructed to collect. She realized that universality of death. According to the Buddhist verse her story comes from, she said, it's not just truth of one village or town, nor is it truth of a single family, but every world settled by gods and men. This indeed is what is true, impermanable. With this new understanding, her grief was calm. She buried her son in the forest and returned to Buddha. She confessed to Buddha that she would not obtain any of the mustard seeds he had instructed her to collect because she could not even find one house untouched by death. Here is a passionate interpretation of what Buddha imparted upon Kissa Gautami at this point of time. Dear girl, the life of mortals in the world is troubled and brief, inseparable from suffering for those by every means born cannot avoid dying. All living beings are of such a nature that they must die whether they are old aged or not. As an early ripening fruits are in danger of falling, so mortals when born are always in danger of dying, both young, old, who are foolish, those who are wise, all fall into the power of death. All are subject to death, of course, who depart from this life overcome by death. A father cannot save his son, nor relatives their kinsfolk. While relatives are looking and lamenting, one by one the mortals are carried off like oxen to the slaughter. People die. Their fate after death will be according to their deeds. Such are the terms of the world. Not from weeping, nor from grieving will anyone obtain peace of mind. On the contrary, his pain will be all the more greater and ruin his health. He will make himself sick, pale, but dead bodies cannot be restored by lamentation. Now that you have heard the Tathagata Kissa, reject grief. Do not allow it to enter your mind. Seeing one dead, know for sure I shall never see him again in this existence. And just as the fire of burning house is quenched, so does the contemplative wise person scatter grief's power. expertly, swiftly, even as the wind scatters cotton seed. He who seeks peace should pull out the arrow of lamentations, useless longings, and self made pangs of grief. He who has removed this wholesome arrow and has calmed himself will obtain peace of mind. Verily, he who has conquered grief will always be free from grief, sane and immune, confident, happy, close to nirvana, I say. Kissa entered the first stage of enlightenment from her existence. She decided to become a disciple of Buddha and went on to become the first female arahant. Reflections of the parable of mustard seeds. What can we take away from this parable? Losing a child or any dear one to death is a tragedy no one wants to face. When faced with such painful loss, we can feel like Kissa, with a grief so unbearable that we wish anything to make it death not be real. But as Kissa learned, when she could not collect a single mustard seed, death is universal. Nearly everyone at some point in their life loses their near and dear ones. This is part of impermanence of things that Buddhism speaks of. Despite the fact that nearly all of us experience the loss of our loved ones, this does not make the pain of these losses any easier to bear. How do we cope? It is different for everyone. We typically find ways to carry on. For Kissa, it was epiphany that she came to Buddha's lessons and that helped her cope up with the tragedy in her life. It is one story among countless throughout human existence of how a person has suffered great losses yet learned in their own way to move forward. Grief can often leave a person feeling isolated, confused, not able to cope up. Reading stories like Kissa will show that even long, long ago, people felt the same way, yet they found a way through. For the griever, it's a reminder that you are never truly alone in this experience. May the hope thrive. May the prayers and Buddha give peace to all deceased and their families strength to cope up. Prayers sent your way. Thank you. Thanks for watching.